Hello everybody. Been a minute since I made a full-length video like this, but I think it's time to address the actual Pokemon market itself and what we're really saying online. I've seen a few videos now that have been talking about how difficult it was getting Pokemon cards back in the day, well, when it first came out. And it's almost hard to look at the comment section seeing how everyone almost just willy-nilly just agrees with it. Now, the market right now compared to what it was before is definitely not what it was. We've had two big booms in the last half a decade here, the Logan Paul era, and now this, honestly, I don't even know, not even sure what's causing this current market pump. The Logan Paul era was a little more understandable. You had a massive influencer that was coming on the market and opening a Pokemon base set and talking about how valuable this set is and look at my Charizard, you know, woohoo. The market, a lot of people saw it in the market, responded accordingly, went up in price. But now, this year, I'm not really sure what exactly is going on financially. We're pretty, how do I say it, pretty close to a recession, I would say, in the overall economy. A lot of people are falling behind on mortgage payments, losing their jobs, not able to find new jobs. On top of that, we have just the overall stock market blistering to all-time highs. I don't know if it's a case of haves and have-nots. It wouldn't make sense though, since a lot of these buyers are new people last 6 months, last year. So as far as this market being a bubble, I'm not really sure. But the one thing I can tell you is my own personal experience of growing up with Pokemon when it first came out. Now I still have, let me see. Yep. Still have, it's in there, my original blue version. And I love this game. If you can't tell, I'm a big time collector for video games, comics, and Pokemon too. But when this first came out, it was everywhere. Everyone had this. It was so common. It was very similar to what you see today with Fortnite. Common as dirt, cheap as hell, everywhere. Of course, there was a few one-off cards that were the sought-after ones, but even then they weren't thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars like you see nowadays with the new Moonbreon and the Sunbreon, excuse me, that's the new one with Prismatic, just releasing on day one, being thousands of dollars. It seems like everything right now is completely front run. If you're lucky enough right now, you can find some online restocks. Of course, I know a lot of people now are using Discords. I'm not particularly a fan of that. Honestly, I've just been kind of picking up what shows up when it shows up. I haven't been foaming at the mouth to find the next drop, the next release date for the current set. The only reason is because these prices, even from like Mega Evolution's going for almost $200 a box, just normal MSRP. I'm used to the $80, $90 booster boxes myself, but these prices are so absurdly front run. How is it even feasible for people to be buying this still, with the economy being pretty much in the dumps? It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So whether this market is a bubble, I don't know. But the fact is that back in the day, and I'm sorry I keep going back and forth here, I'll get better at it, more videos we'll make here, but the fact is that there's multiple videos, like I was saying, that I've seen where people are comparing to this current market to how it was back in, whoop, there it goes, 1995, when the first Pokemon came out, in the 90's. I've even seen them use a few videos of people waiting in line for the newest release. But go back and watch those videos, it's all parents, you know. People like me waiting in line, hundreds of us at multiple stores. I know you've seen this, and eventually maybe I'll start editing these videos and splicing in these videos so you can see, but I'm sure everyone is completely aware of it. Best Buy's got hundreds of people in front of it. GameStop's got hundreds of people. Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart. It's almost like everyone is treating this as their main investment strategy. How to flip. And even me as a collector, none of this stuff has been for flipping or selling. Of course, maybe one day I would like to open a business. I do currently enjoy my job and make decent money, but everyone else is treating this as a full-time job or a part-time job. To each their own. I'm not going to criticize anybody, but the fact is you have so many people here that are treating it the same way, as it's all money. It's not for the fun of it, not to play the game, the card game, or to collect, to enjoy it with future generations. And that's circling back to what I was talking about originally. Back in the day, this game, the card, every kid on the block had it. Every schoolyard was filled with it. People trading, people battling with the actual cards, or using, the link up, battling and trading. Of course, you had to do that if you wanted certain Pokemon. But it was all kids. That's the thing. These parents that were in line, that some of these videos I've seen are referencing, was all the parents buying it for their kids. Not teenagers, not 20 or 30-year-olds, kids, And that's why those cards are so valuable now. They were printed in the ground, every kid had them, and that's exactly the point. Kids had them. They did not treat them like a collector. They fumbled with it. They threw them. A lot of people didn't even use penny sleeves back in the day, just having them out raw, bringing them to school with a rubber band around it. But that's why they're so valuable now, is because it is extremely, extremely hard to find Gem Mint 10s of anything, say, base set 2, Fossil, Jungle, Team Rocket. All that stuff was extremely common. All the kids had it, and they used them. It wasn't put immediately into a penny sleeve and then a card saver to be forgotten about, or really to resell a couple weeks or months later so they can reinvest into the next big set. Which is, honestly, I feel like Pokemon is playing a little into it. These sets are coming out so quickly, almost soon enough for them to flip, sell, buy the next set. Love Pokemon, no quarrel with them at all. I love them. Maybe one day I'll get my own distributor so I can open up a card shop, or maybe an arcade. But it is not anywhere near what it was back then to now. Back then, it was all kids playing. There was a few. I know everyone's seen that Pawn Star episode with that guy that was enthusiastic about collecting the Pokemon, particularly Charizards. He brought it in for appraisal. Very smart man. Of course, you say that now, but back then, I'm sure everyone was laughing at him. And that's pretty much the point. of any market. Be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful. That's pretty much it. And he took a big risk. Of course, back then no one knew that Pokemon was going to continue on for 30 freaking years. We're approaching 30 years next year. We're going to have that anniversary, 2026. But it's hard to say whether or not this is a bubble. Very hard to say whether or not this is a Pokemon bubble. But I would kind of argue in the fact that it pretty much undoubtedly is. At least with the Logan Paul era, people during the COVID time had some, free stimulus money from the government. Right now, we're not getting anything, and people are still spending hand over fist for product. I've seen these videos online where people are just, that's my timer. I've seen these videos where people are just spending absurd amount of money on PSA 10s, CGCs, not particularly my fan, or tags, but buying these graded cards, thinking that they're long-term investments. I would argue a lot of them are, and a lot of them aren't. There's better investments, obviously, but you should be buying these things because you enjoy them. You enjoy that particular Pokemon. You have a certain connection with it, a memory. And that's pretty much the reason why I collect. All of this is what they call nostalgic. Very nostalgic for me. Stuff I grew up with. And I hope future generations get to grow up with what I had access to. So hopefully eventually these prices come back down to a reasonable level, and the supply reaches a reasonable level too, where we can just walk into the store again and buy what we want. Now have to wait in absurd lines, wait for random online drops at random times, random days, just having us check our phones during work hours randomly just to be able to get the latest and greatest set. Like I said, I haven't been participating in that pretty much at all. It's just been watching and observing from the sidelines. Hopefully something changes soon. I don't want anybody to lose any money, obviously, or get stuck holding any bags, but something has to change here. Hopefully it changes for the better so that the younger generations have access to it again. Hope you have a good day. I'll see you again soon.